Good evening, everyone. My name is Marion McEwen, the Workplace Liaison at Chatham-Kent Public Health. I'm joined by our consultation reps, Matthew McGuigan and Michelle Groundwater, and our President-elect, Jessica Francis. Chatham-Kent chapter has been fortunate to have 5 active new members recruited to our executive meetings. Our membership enjoyed a social bowling event in February to beat the winter blues. We participated in Queen's Park Day and Queen's Park on the Road, all prior to COVID-19 arriving. We look forward to participating in and hosting events again next year, including the AGM. Board of Directors, RNAO Assembly, members, RNs, NPs, and valued nursing students, RNAO staff, and distinguished guests. As your AGM hosts, it is our distinct honor to warmly welcome you to RNAO's 95th Annual General Meeting, taking place virtually for the first time in the association's history. This year, the AGM is especially important as we celebrate the Year of the Nurse in the midst of battling a pandemic. In these trying times, I am very proud to be a registered nurse and proud to belong to an association who always speaks out for nurses and the people we care for in Ontario, at the national level, as well as internationally. Over the next 3 days, RNAO will share with you outstanding examples of accomplishments of how we as a collective of committed members have advanced Ontario's health system by speaking out for nurses and speaking out for health. You will hear from our president, Dr. Angela Cooper-Braithwaite, and CEO, Dr. Doris Grinspan, about incredible work that the RNAO has accomplished provincially, nationally, and internationally over the past year. Tomorrow, we will see nursing engagement in action as we discuss the well-researched and member-developed resolutions that consultation representatives will vote on during the consultation session. On Saturday morning, there will be networking opportunities at 9 interest group meetings taking place from 8 to 11 a.m. Then we will close our 95th AGM celebrations with a closing keynote presentation on the topic, celebrating the Year of the Nurse, scaling up our voices. The much anticipated closing keynote panel moderated by our CEO will feature Barbara Stillwell, Executive Director of Nursing Now Global, and one of the first NPs in the United Kingdom, as well as Mary Kay Wakefield, former Deputy Secretary of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services under President Obama. We ask that you enjoy and actively participate in the AGM over the next days as we celebrate RNAO's powerful voice and the Year of the Nurse. It is my pleasure now to welcome our esteemed procession. We also received a message from a special guest that we'd like to share with you now.
when we need to be strong against all odds. And I know you are listening to me through exhaustion, through broken hearts, and with sore feet. But I also know you are hearing my message with hope. Hope that the next patient will be someone you can help, someone you can make a difference with. Let me tell you, times may change, but some things never do. You help all of them. You make a difference to all of them. I can still remember my first day as a nurse. So much going on. I feel like you can't keep up. You're surrounded by faces of those who need your help. As often as they want medicine or diagnosis, they also want time. An ear to hear them. A kind word of compassion. Often we are the first face someone sees when they're afraid and in pain. My time spent during the Crimean War was a test of my will and my faith. We did what we could to help as many as we could. During that first winter, we lost 10 times more troops to infectious disease than we did to battle. The sanitary conditions were horrid. I remember writing about them and hoping my words would last beyond my own breath. Everyday sanitary knowledge, or the knowledge of nursing, in other words, of how to put the Constitution in such a state that it will have no disease, or that it can recover from disease, takes a higher place. It is recognized as the knowledge which everyone ought to have, distinct from medical knowledge, which only a professional can have. We fought to change the sanitary conditions, and thankfully it led to great reduction in the losses we suffered. I know every day you take great care to sanitize, to keep patients safe. I know it makes your hands crack. I know it is tedious, but I know you do it without complaint, as you do so many other thankless tasks because the patients need you. Even before I wrote notes on nursing in 1859 or founded my nursing school in 1860, I knew it was imperative for more and more of us to be out there. There could never be enough nurses on the front lines helping others, whether it be on the battlefield in some faraway land or in the local hospital. We are always needed. And I know that you and your RNAO leaders, that outspoken president of yours, Dr. Angela Cooper-Brathwaite, and your feisty CEO, Dr. Doris Grinspan, are now fighting yet again for more nurses. This time for patients in nursing homes. Yes, homes. Their homes. Indeed, I hear you, all 43,000 of you, are forcing the powers that be to give you the resources you need, so you too can save lives, as I and my ladies did. Know it is a cause worth fighting for, and never give up. I've always been proud of what I do, what all nurses do. It takes great character to be willing to put others before yourself. There are people devoted to helping others who will always be needed. During the flu epidemic that raged and ravaged the world between 1889 and 1890, it was the nurses that were the glue that kept everything together. And now again in your times, it is the nurses that are the glue keeping everything together as you fight valiantly against COVID. When nurses started providing services in the workhouses of Great Britain in the 1860s, it was uncharted territory. We made a great difference despite the challenges. A lesson I learned from my first day is that we have to endure, for them as much for ourselves. I have seen changes in the world of medicine that I could never have dreamed of in 1,000 lifetimes. We are always fighting some invisible enemy on our battlefields all around the world. I have seen advancements like vaccines that have taken the fight to ailments that were at first thought to be unbeatable. Nothing is unbeatable when we are together. It seems that there's always some new threat waiting around the corner, waiting for our vigilance to wane, as it was with the third wave of the plague in 1855 an influenza outbreak in Europe in 1857 or cholera in England in 1866. The fight was long and hard, but we prevailed. It's a difficult and sometimes lonely calling, but it is always worth it. No matter the hardships faced, we have a duty to ourselves to carry on. It is important to take a deep breath now and then, just stop for a moment and take it all in. Everything we do makes a difference. Every lesson we can help unlock, every lesson we learn can help unlock the door to the next mystery that is waiting for us in the shadows. Every smile, every rushed step, every moment is a gift that you have chosen to give. Today's horrific ailment will be a test for us all. Just as the epidemics in the past tested nurses around the world, your effort is heroic deeds performed countless times a day. You will be the reason we can defeat this invisible enemy, much as we did the last one, and much as we will the next one. You are the reason people turn to us when they need help. I'm grateful to be amongst your ranks and honored to call myself a nurse. My legacy is you, and your legacy is now being written. I'm afraid they need me back, but before I go, I must tell you I am proud of you all. Thank you for your service, and please continue to be safe. Oh, and I must not forget to welcome your incoming president, Nurse Morgan Hofarth. Goodbye, and believe me, our fight is worth fighting.
It is now my pleasure to welcome ARNIO President, Dr. Angela Cooper-Braithwaite, to commence this evening's program.
Thank you, Marianne. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us this evening. I also thank Chatham-Kent chapter for being our host for this very special 95th annual general meeting. Over the next 2 days, and in the company of over 600 RNs, NPs, and nursing students, other healthcare professionals, members of the public, political and civil servant leaders, we will take great pride in celebrating RNAO's numerous accomplishments achieved together in the past year. The theme of this year's annual meeting is the Year of the Nurse, as designated by the World Health Organization. It's my honor to reflect on the nurse we are celebrating tonight as well, Florence Nightingale, 200th birthday, which went in May. That was her anniversary. And what a year it has been. This year was highlighted the incredible power of nursing and the central role we play in healthcare at home around the globe, be it at the bedside, in the community, on the telephone, in research, in policy centers, in correctional services. We have always been the vital figure in nursing for the public. I like to think that seeing how we have come through together and preserve in the most difficult of times and continue to provide the best possible care for our patients, Florence Nightingale would be proud of us today. Over the next few days, you will see examples of our amazing accomplishments over the last year. For that, I thank you profoundly. Our engaged members, our value-driven board of directors, our evidence-based and courageous CEO with her expert staff and our esteemed partners. Let me now introduce you to our board of directors and special guest. Morgan Hofarth, President-elect. Betty Aldershaw, Region 1 representative. Christy Butler, Region 2 representative. Nathan Kelly, Region 3 representative. Anita Sanset, Region 4 representative. Lee Ann Turner, Region 5 representative. Soyan Sito, Region 7 representative, and I'll go back. Pariska Bata, Region 6 representative. Regina Elliott, Region 8 representative. Alison Kern, Region 9 representative. Doris Jenkins, Region 10 representative. Liana Brayson, Region 11 representative. Julie Revel, Interest Group representative. Rhonda Simon Carlson, Interest Group representative. Brad Manuel, Student representative. Shalom Globerman, Public representative. And Doris Greenspan, our CEO. I would now like to introduce our past president, Carol Timmins, Vanessa Borowski, Rhonda Slidham Carlson, Charlotte Nosgard, Elizabeth Jensen, Irma Jean Baynock. I'd like to recognize our Lifetime Achievement and Award recipients, Diva Marie Beck, Cathy Crow, Jean Clipson, Joyce Fox, Andre Paul Gautier, Linda Halsam Stroud, Ruth Lee, Kathy Morland, Judith Surridge, Helen Tyndale. Next, I would like to welcome two of Ontario major political party leaders who are present with us this evening. Our Deputy Premier and Minister of Health, the Honorable Christine Elliott. Leader of the Green Party of Ontario, Mike Schreiner. Members of the Provincial Parliament, Honorable Jill Dunlop, Minister of Children, Community and Social Services, Associate Minister responsible for women's issues. MPP Jennifer French, MPP John Fraser. Other government friends I'd like to also introduce are Nadia Surani, Director, Primary Care, Government of Ontario. Representatives from our key stakeholders include Nicola Williams, the Australian Nursing and Midwifery Federation. Jackie Wood, the Australian Nursing and Midwifery Federation. Kenya Matus, Toronto Central Lynn Health Integration Network. Darmister Call, Southeast Toronto Family Health Team. Helen Lacroix, St. Elizabeth Health. Stephanie Colson, Lumacare. Doris Formilu, Kamwa, Black Creek Community Health Center. Li Yu, Japan Friendship Hospital in Beijing, China. Camille Abdul Karim, the University of the West Indies School of Nursing, Mona, Jamaica. Jerry De La Rue, Hub International. Nadia Sidine, Hub International. Carolyn Masinski, Hub International. Tim Buswell, Magic. Diana Cornwell, Magnus. Julie Busview, MBO, BMO, MasterCard. Dominia Philadelphia, Colliers International. Tim Gurry, Colliers International. Lisa Blacklot, Colliers International. Welcome everyone, and thank you all for joining us this evening and to share in this wonderful celebration with us. This evening, RNO is delighted to always have, as usual, a representative from Ontario political party in office, and it is my absolute pleasure to welcome the Honorable Christine Elliott to share her remarks. Christine Elliott is Deputy Premier, Minister of Health, and elected as the MPP for Newmarket Aurora in 2018 and served as MPP for Whitby Oshawa from 2007 to 2015. Christine also served as Deputy Leader of the Oppositional Party from 2009 to 2015. Elliott graduated from the University of Western Ontario with a Bachelor of Laws degree. She then built a successful career in the business and law, working first as an auditor at one of Canada's largest banks. Elliott later co-founded a law firm with her late husband, Jim Flaherty, where she specialized in real estate, corporate law, and estate law. Her pro bono legal work for charitable organizations gained Elliott recognition as a Rotary International Paul Harris Fellow, the highest award presented by Rotary. Elliott is a passionate champion of Ontarians with different abilities. She is the co-founder of the Ability Center in Whitby, a facility built with the vision of celebrating all people, regardless of ability. The center has become a community hub, including hosting various events for the Para-Pan Am Games in 2015. In 2016, Elliott became Ontario President of Ombudsman, where she worked directly with patients as she fought for better access to healthcare for all. Elliott is the proud mother of triplet sons, John, Galen, and Quinn. It is my pleasure to welcome Deputy Premier of Ontario and Minister of Health, Christine Elliott, Honorable Christine Elliott.
Thank you very much, Angela, and good evening, everyone. It's a real pleasure to join you tonight. And I do want to take a moment first to acknowledge the leadership of Dr. Doris Greenspan and your board of directors during these truly unprecedented times. Doris sits at our collaboration table, and I thank her for her guidance, her leadership, and her support in the province's response to COVID-19. I also want to thank you for your ECHO report and the 13 recommendations made to enhance community care and to create better quality care for all Ontarians. We have read the report and look forward to further conversations with you about it in the near future. We value your partnership very much and all of the important work that you do to help improve Ontario's healthcare system. That's why I'm also pleased to announce that we will be advancing a 5-year funding agreement with RNAO to maintain initiatives that support the quality of nursing care. These include initiatives like implementing nursing best practice guidelines across institutions, continuing to support education and fellowship opportunities for registered nurses, and supporting registered nurse recruitment and retention in Ontario. 2020 is the year of the nurse, and it couldn't be more fitting, as we also heard from Florence. There are perhaps a handful of times in our history where we've asked so much of our nurses. But once again, you've proven that being a nurse is more than just a profession. It is truly a calling. Your professionalism, your bravery, and your compassion in the face of this outbreak is recognized by our whole province, and we are all so very thankful for it. The care you provide is critical and has played a key part in why Ontario's healthcare system has demonstrated remarkable responsiveness to COVID-19. Everyone has a story of a nurse who has helped them in a time of need, who was there at a difficult time with a smile to reassure them that they were safe and cared for. I certainly know I do. And that's why so many people have gone to such great lengths to demonstrate their appreciation and support for our frontline healthcare workers during these difficult times. Since the very beginning of this outbreak, our government has made protecting the health and safety of patients and the workers caring for them as our top priority. We continue to secure the necessary personal protective equipment you need to safely provide care for your patients. And we will continue to come together to support you and to stop the spread of this deadly virus. We are making progress. Earlier this week, our government announced it would be easing restrictions in communities where it is safe to do so, based on trends of key public health indicators, such as lower rates of transmission, increased capacity in hospitals, and progress made in testing. But we aren't out of danger yet. There is still much work to be done. Protecting the people of Ontario, especially those who are most vulnerable and at high risk, will continue to be our top priority, and I know it will be yours as well. We want to continue to work with you to help protect the health and well-being of all Ontarians. So once again, thank you for all that you do for us each and every day. And I certainly wish you all the best with your annual general meeting. Thank you.
Angela, I want to step out of script for a second. And Minister, it has been a privilege to work with you and with the Premier during this difficult time. I know it has been a privilege for the almost 44,000 members of RNO, and equally for all the nurses, RNs, RPNs, nurse practitioners, nursing students in the province to contribute to the well-being of Ontarians. Please know that you can count on us every single minute, every single day. And that, as Florence said, we never give up. So on that note, know that we will always be a voice of evidence, a voice of reason, a voice of knowledge, and a voice of compassion that you all can count with. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Greenspan, and thank you to all of the members of the RNAO.
Thank you so much. Now we'll hear from MPP Mike Schreiner. Mike is the leader of the Green Party of Ontario and the MPP for Guelph. He was elected in 2018 provincial election as the Green Party of Ontario won its first seat at Queen's Park. He is a successful entrepreneur and small business owner. Mike leading advocacy for small business, local food, and sustaining communities. Mike has been a champion on issues such as campaign finance reform, protecting Guelph drinking water from local quarries. He has led successful policy campaigns to push the provincial government to fund the experimental lake areas, protect local food supply by restricting the use of neonicotinoid pesticides, support small businesses by increasing market access for local craft breweries, and fight for climate change. Please join me in welcoming MPP Schreiner to share some remarks with us.
Thanks, Angela, for that very kind introduction. And I want to thank you for inviting me to be with you for your 95th AGM. And I'm so sorry that we're not having this conversation in person, because I always love spending time with RNAO and just celebrating the great work you do. And I just want to say how fitting it is that this year was designated the Year of the Nurse before the COVID-19 pandemic reminded us all how essential the work you do is. And not that we needed any reminder that you are all heroes, but we certainly got one. As my friend Rochelle Devereaux from the Guelph Community Health Center likes to say, we asked you to walk into the fire of the pandemic, and you've done it heroically. And I just want to give a shout out to Rochelle and Adriana Tetley and Doris Greenspan, of course, who joined me in writing an op-ed about the importance of expanding harm reduction programs so we can also address the overdose epidemic that we're facing in our communities while we're dealing with this pandemic. I want to continue to work with you, especially as we address the crisis in long-term care. I hope one of the things that comes out of the inquiry is that we have more registered nurses in our long-term care homes. I know over the last 20 years, RNAO has produced, I think, around 35 reports talking about how we can improve the way we care for our elders in our society. And I believe it's time that as government starts listening to your reports. And especially, I want to say we essentially need to listen to your report on enhancing community care that says we need to focus more on the upstream care and disease prevention, health promotion, so we stop relying so much on hospitals by keeping people healthy in the first place. And that is something that I've always believed deeply in. So I finally just want to thank you for your leadership on the social determinants of health, from affordable housing to systemic racism to the need to have clean air and water. I firmly believe that when the province fails to keep people safe with good social and environmental policies, the end result is always bad health outcomes that fall into your laps as nurses. And this needs to change. So I want to close by thanking you all for the heroic work that you do every day, and by honoring RN Brian Beatty, who died of COVID-19 on May 12th. And I just want to say thank you to all the RNs and nurses across Ontario.
Thank
So
you.
Angela, if you go ahead, but I do want to say something important to Mike.
Thank you so much, MPP Schreiner, for joining us in person today, and we really appreciate you attending our 95th AGM.
So Mike, number one, was fantastic to go with you during Nursing Week to the virtual visit and then to co-author the op-ed piece. But today I reflected with a reporter on something very interesting about those 35 reports that have happened in the last 21 years. And in the last 21 years, basically it's all the governments but the Green Party. I just wanted to say that.
We'll get our chance, Doris.
I just wanted to say that. You're the only one that cannot take accountability for the failures of the system. Here you go.
Okay. Well, we'll try to help fix it, and working with all the parties.
Absolutely will, and you are with your strong voice. You are. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We are delighted to share with you recorded greetings from 3 of our political leaders. First, we would hear greetings from the Minister of Long-Term Care, Honorable Marilee Fullerton. Marilee Fullerton was the first elected in 2018, serving in the cabinet as Minister of Training, Colleges and Universities. In June of 2019, she was appointed by the Ontario Premier, Doug Ford, to serve as Minister of Long-Term Care. So please join me in welcoming her and listening to her video.
Courage can only begin to describe what the last few months have demanded of you. And as we all know, long-term care homes have been the front line of COVID-19, not only here in Ontario, but all over the world. And I want to thank the RNAO, all of you, for your incredible dedication to protecting our long-term care residents from this deadly virus. To Dr. Angela Cooper-Braithwaite, thank you for your service as you complete your term as president. And to Dr. Doris Grinspun, we are so grateful for your partnership and collaboration throughout this pandemic. And of course, welcome to Morgan Hofarth, incoming president of the RNAO. This year marks the RNAO's 95th year. And on behalf of the Ontario government, congratulations to you all on this milestone. We are deeply appreciative for the care that you have shown Ontarians for nearly a century. Your work has never been as important as it is now. And as we continue in our fight against COVID-19, we know you are important partners. Before becoming an elected official, I was a family doctor for almost 30 years. And I know how important you are in your roles on the front lines of care. Some of you will remember SARS and H1N1 and how we got through those outbreaks together. Now we are confronting another threat, COVID-19. And once again, you are stepping up to the plate in a tremendous way. The RNAO has deployed VIA nurses, RNs, RPNs, PSW. Hello, and thank you for the opportunity to address you all today. Courage can only begin to describe what the last few months have demanded of you. And as we all know, long-term care homes have been the front line of COVID-19, not only here in Ontario, but all over the world. And I want to thank the RNAO, all of you, for your incredible dedication to protecting our long-term care residents from this deadly virus. To Dr. Angela Cooper-Braithwaite, thank you for your service as you complete your term as president. And to Dr. Doris Grinspun, we are so grateful for your partnership and collaboration throughout this pandemic. And of course, welcome to Morgan Hofarth, incoming president of the RNAO. This year marks the RNAO's 95th year. And on behalf of the Ontario government, congratulations to you all on this milestone. We are deeply appreciative for the care that you have shown Ontarians for nearly a century. Your work has never been as important as it is now. And as we continue in our fight against COVID-19, we know you are important partners. Before becoming an elected official, I was a family doctor for almost 30 years. And I know how important you are in your roles on the front lines of care. Some of you will remember SARS and H1N1 and how we got through those outbreaks together. Now we are confronting another threat, COVID-19. And once again, you are stepping up to the plate in a tremendous way. The RNAO has deployed VIA nurses, RNs, RPNs, PSWs to over 240 long-term care homes in need over the past few months. The support this represents for our residents is astounding. They are our grandmothers and grandfathers, fathers and mothers, sisters and brothers, uncles and aunts, and you are giving them the care and dignity that they need at Ontario's time of need. Please know that there are teams across the province working around the clock to make sure you receive the resources that you and your colleagues need to get through this together. I've read the updates and releases from RNAO, including most recently a report summarizing recommendations made for long-term care over the past 20 years. There is no doubt that decades of neglect have amplified the tragedy of this pandemic in our long-term care homes. I want to assure you that our work continues to repair the long-standing issues in the long-term care system. From before the pandemic, our government has had a plan underway to modernize the long-term care sector and grow our heroic workforce. This includes using our $1.75 billion investment to build new capacity and redevelop older long-term care beds to modern standards. And we are also continuing to respond to the recommendations of the Galeese Inquiry. And as promised, we will be providing a report to the legislature on July 31st. And the staffing study that we launched in February continues to progress and will report back as part of the Galeese Inquiry. And that will be a response to that inquiry and will inform a comprehensive staffing strategy moving forward. We intend to deliver that staffing strategy by the end of the year. You will know better than most that these are essential pieces to protecting our most vulnerable and ensuring that long-term care homes are safe and comfortable places to live. Right now, the lessons we are learning are helping us respond aggressively to COVID-19, whether through staffing supports, PPE, funding, appointing emergency management, or calling in hospitals and the Canadian Armed Forces. Our government has put everything on the table in this fight to protect our most vulnerable. And we are acting fast to launch a fully independent, transparent, and public commission in July so that we can get the answers right away about this tragedy in our long-term care homes. We must put measures in place to ensure this never happens again. And I look forward to your input to that commission. As Minister of Long-Term Care, I want you to know how grateful I am for all of you and all you are doing to support our long-term care homes. My mission is to support you. Working together, we will come out of this together and see brighter days ahead. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you, Minister Fullerton. And we look forward to working with you in refining, remodernizing our long-term care homes. I will now like for us to look at a video from our official opposition leader of Ontario, the New Democratic Party, Honorable Andrea Horwath. Andrea shares that she believes all Ontarians deserve health care they can count on, high quality senior care, and public schools that give children a great start. So please look at this video from our official opposition leader and Ontario New Democratic Party, Andrea Horwath.
Hello everyone, bonjour tout le monde. It's an honor to bring you greetings, mark the year of the nurse, and celebrate all of you. Before I begin, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge those who cannot be with us. To the nurses and their family members who are sick and fighting their own battles with COVID-19, we wish you strength, resiliency, and a speedy recovery. And to those who have lost friends, colleagues, and loved ones to this pandemic, we wish you comfort and peace during this very, very difficult time. I want to thank Angela, Doris, and the entire RNAO. From leading the vital effort to recruit retired nurses and deploy them into hospitals and long-term care, to pushing for healthcare workers to work at only one facility in order to limit the spread of COVID-19, the RNAO has been a powerful and desperately needed voice in our healthcare landscape. Not just for the nursing profession, but for every Ontarian. I also want to thank each and every nursing student, registered nurse, and nurse practitioner attending the AGM via Zoom today. You are our heroes. Every day in communities across Ontario, you have led the way in these dark times, displaying incredible bravery, determination, and a generosity of spirit. Assessing and testing thousands of people, caring for those who are ill, and standing in for family members to comfort those losing the battle. And fearlessly holding the line against the spread of COVID-19 in our province. Thank you. Ontarians owe you a debt of gratitude that can never be repaid. What we can do, and what I will always do, is stand shoulder to shoulder with you and push this government to ensure you get everything you need, including N95s, based on the precautionary principle, so that you can keep yourselves, your colleagues, your families, and your patients safe and protected. No healthcare hero should ever have to fight the government for personal protective equipment, reuse PPE, or buy their masks at a dollar store. You deserve so much better, and together, we will get there. As we keep making progress and pushing back COVID-19 together, we'll continue to tackle the big systemic problems that the RNAO's amazing work has highlighted. We can leave behind the corrosive, failed agenda of cuts, freezes, and privatization. We can leave behind low-paying, low-staffing, for-profit corporations that profit by cutting corners with no care for the safety of healthcare workers and the suffering of seniors in care. And instead, we can invest in frontline care and our world-class public healthcare system. We can invest in quality, nonprofit, community-based long-term care with more hands-on nursing and personal care for seniors. We can make the year of the nurse the year that we change the face of healthcare and long-term care in this province for the better. And we can make sure that we never, ever go back. Thank you. Merci beaucoup, Miigwech, and have a fantastic virtual AGM.
Thank you so much, MPP Howard. And now we have the opportunity to listen to a video from Stephen DeLuca. And he is the present leader for the Liberal Party. Please welcome him.
Good evening, and thank you to the Registered Nurses Association of Ontario for inviting me to join you. It's been an extremely difficult year for all of us, but even more so for our frontline healthcare workers. So thank you for stepping up and putting your lives at risk to make sure that the rest of us are kept safe. I had the pleasure of interviewing 5 representatives from the nursing profession just a few days ago, including a member of the RNAO. It was truly insightful because I had the chance to listen to those who've been experiencing firsthand what was happening on the front line in places and spaces that the rest of us are only reading about. And I made an important observation, which I also want to share with you. As someone who follows how the healthcare story is being told today in the news, I've been struck by how few nurses we're hearing from directly. Of course, we hear a lot about nurses, but not enough from nurses. Fortunately, this is changing. The nursing profession is stepping up to be heard loudly and clearly, and I, for one, could not be happier. It's a testament to all of you and your association leaders that we as a society hear you. There have been few times in history when the recognition for the vital role that nurses have in our society is more apparent than it is today. In long-term care homes, hospitals, and clinics across Ontario, nurses continue providing care to patients despite unprecedented challenges. You have put yourselves in danger, and you have stepped up magnificently. This year has rightly been declared the Year of the Nurse by the World Health Organization and the International Council of Nurses. We are reminded that you have always worked on our front lines, but this year it has taken on an unparalleled meaning. For this and for so many other reasons, I want to thank you again for the incredible work that you do. I also want to thank your families and communities for supporting you during this stressful time. You can count on me to continue to be an ally and supporter of all nurses in Ontario. On behalf of the Ontario Liberal Party, all the very best for an incredibly successful annual general meeting. Thank you.
Thank you so much, MPP DeLuca. And I want to thank all the other party leaders for joining us and sending us their remarks this evening. We know that our members always look forward to hearing from you. And now we would like to hear from our international nursing colleagues who have sent us greetings. First, I'd like to share a powerful message from Dr. Ricciardi, President of Sigma. FDI, now called Sigma, was founded in 1922 and has more than 135,000 active members in more than 90 countries. Membership is by invitation to baccalaureate or graduate nurses who demonstrate excellence in scholarship and to nurse leaders exhibiting exceptional achievements in nursing. Our esteemed CEO is one of these members. I will now read the letter from Dr. Ricciardi on behalf of Sigma. Dear President Angela Cooper-Brathwaite, CEO Doris Greenspan, board members, fellow nurses, Minister of Health, and distinguished guests. It is with great pleasure I bring greetings on behalf of 135,000 Sigma members who are living in Canada and throughout the world. I know that you would prefer to have been meeting in person, However, I applaud RNA's team for adapting to the global pandemic and creating a terrific program. RNO continues, to provide guidance, improvement in health sciences. During the past year, RNA issued 3 new practice guidelines, trained 19,000 nurse leaders in evidence-based practice, and delivered numerous webinars, including 2 best practice guidelines for nursing now. And that just highlights a few of RNO's many significant contributions to promote excellence in nursing practice and empower nurses to actively influence and shape decisions that affect the profession and the public they serve. I also would like to extend a big thank you to the nurses and healthcare workers who provide healthcare delivery during this global pandemic. I've heard so many inspiring stories during the global pandemic, from the great work that nurses do throughout the year as they face COVID-19 as well. Despite facing significant challenges and personal risk, nurses have served with distinction and honor, committed to the patients and communities they serve. However, the unrelenting commitment under the complex physically and demanding conditions to the patients and communities we serve is not without health cost to nurses. Sigma has responded to the crisis by hosting a series of free webinars with content taught by experts in communication and debriefing, ethics, and more. Further, the presidential call to action, Infuse Joy, provides a framework and materials to infuse joy in all settings in which nurses work. These Sigma programs and products are complementary to and support RNA's vision and strengthen leadership of every nurse, advances individual and collective health. On behalf of the Chief Executive Officer, Elizabeth Madigan, and myself, we wish you all the best for a productive 95th Annual General Meeting. Enjoy this time together. Sincerely, Richard Ricciardi, President of Sigma. So our thanks to Dr. Ricciardi for his wonderful letter. Next, we'd like to hear from Barbara Steinwell, Executive Director of Nursing Now, Global Campaign since 2018. For the past 25 years, Steinwell has worked as an international health workforce issues, first with the World Health Organization based in Geneva, and then with the Intra-Health International. She will have a full introduction at the closing keynote panel on Saturday. So we'll now see a video by Ms. Steinwell.
Now campaign, and I'm based in London, in England. I had hoped to be with you today for this opening session of your annual general meeting. But as we know, the world has changed and I'm not able to be with you, but I am able to join you via this link, and I'm so pleased to be able to do so. This has been an extraordinary year for nurses. It's the year of the nurse and the midwife, and we should have been having a wonderful celebration all year of the work that we do. Instead, we've been mourning those we've lost. We've been coping with very difficult work. But we have also been able to celebrate the impact that nurses and midwives have had around the world. For all the wrong reasons, probably, this is a year that will never be forgotten. But what we have to do is also make it a year where people can see and acknowledge the extraordinary work that nurses have done at every stage of this pandemic. Nurses have been involved in diagnosis, testing, treatment, right through the care pathway until palliative care. It's all been central nurses' work. And we have to celebrate that and find ways of showing people how nursing has evolved in the last decades to be a profession of complex problem solving, without whom this world can't achieve health for all. Your AGM comes at a really significant moment. We've been working with the Registered Nurses Association of Ontario and Dr. Grinspan to put on webinars, to share lessons learned, and we have seen firsthand the wonderful work that Dr. Grinspan and her team have been doing to be influential in Ontario. That has been extraordinary, and we salute your team over there and the significant work that you've done. I hope that the AGM will reflect this wonderful work, and you'll be able to take away from it inspiration to move forward into 2021. And we hope a world in which we'll be facing different challenges for nurses, but one in which nurses will really be able to show their value and the worth they should have in the healthcare team. I wish you a wonderful AGM and look forward to joining you for the closing session.
Thank you, Barbara, for sharing this message with us. As mentioned, Barbara will also be with us during the closing session as one of the panelists on Saturday from 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. with Mary Kay Wakefield. Be sure to join them and to hear more from Barbara. It's now my pleasure to invite our RNAO CEO, Dr. Doris Grinspan, to commence this year's designation celebration of best practice spotlight organizations.
Thank you, Madam President, and what a pleasure to be joined by so many colleagues. Over 250 to be exact, already joining the AGM for the opening ceremonies. Ceremonies that we usually do in person, colleagues, and now we are doing virtual. And I don't know, quite frankly, many organizations that can say we did an AGM, we didn't postpone an AGM, a 3-day AGM, and my gosh, what an attendance. We have looked at the registration, we will have over 600 people, close to 700 attending all of our events in today, tomorrow, and on Saturday. And this celebration of the BPSOs, Best Practice Spotlight Organizations, is a celebration that we always do in person as well. It's a celebration where usually the Minister of Health gives you the designation, and it's a celebration that we this time are doing virtual because we simply didn't want to postpone you. You deserve to receive it now. So I am absolutely delighted to celebrate, and I'm particularly delighted to celebrate this year, not by choice, but this is because they are graduating, long-term care best practice spotlight organizations from across Ontario. Absolutely amazing because, my gosh, you guys need a boost of energy. If it's one sector that needs a boost of energy, it's you amongst other congregate settings. So we are absolutely thrilled to share in your celebration this evening. And although we didn't plan to do it this way, as my colleague, Dr. Barbara Stilwell said, we are celebrating and you deserve the celebration. Before I begin, I want to recognize Associate Director, if we can put the picture, Ifra, please, of Associate Director Heather McConnell and Associate Director Megan Bamford. Megan and Heather are the ones that are leading the charge with our RNO BPSOs here in Ontario, and in fact with some others around the world. Hi, Heather. And Heather, although we like to do it in person, we hug them virtual, with physical distance, and we celebrate you guys today, and Megan also is with us today. And of course, I also want to thank the long-term care coordinators. You will hear more about them tomorrow when I do my remarks as your CEO, and you will hear more of them also when you see the magnificent, dynamic annual report that we have prepared for you and that is already online. RNO Best Practice Spotlight Organizations was launched under the inspiration and championship of Minister of Health Elizabeth Whitmer in 1999, and thanks to the unwavering support and commitment of successive Minister of Health of all parties, deputies, and ADMs of all parties, well, that work with all parties, the VPG program has become an Ontario success story. And yes, it's not only an RNO success story, it is an Ontario jewel that shines the light around the world. And all those colleagues that my president and Dr. Angela Cooper-Brathwaite mentioned before, actually the ones from Australia, the ones from Jamaica, the ones from Qatar that I know are also participating, they are all BPSOs. So colleagues from around the world, thank you for joining and be part of our celebration of our long-term care practice BPSOs. It is also fitting that both Dr. Ricciardi from Sigma and Minister Elliott and Barbara Stilwell refer to the VPG program and to the BPSOs. And it is very fitting. And we are thrilled at RNO that Minister Elliott announced today the renewal of the 5-year funding for this program and related programs at RNO that involves indigenous communities and involves BPSO, OHTs, Ontario Health Teams, and all the work that you know that we are doing under the leadership of a tremendous team at RNO. Let me start by the ones that are graduating today, because in addition to celebrating the program itself and all of our international colleagues that are joining and our amazing team at RNO, we are here to celebrate you, our colleagues from long-term care. These are health service organizations overall and academic institutions in over 1,000 organizations around the world. But the ones that we are celebrating today are nursing homes. We're celebrating 4 of you for all the tremendous work that you're doing day in and day out. We're celebrating you for your commitment. We are celebrating you because even during COVID time, most of you continue to push forward with the best practice spotlight organization. And although that's not only characteristics of what happened with LTCs and also the OHT BPSOs, the international BPSOs in countries like China that are present today, also and in countries like Chile, continue with the work of BPSO. You in long-term care, as Minister Fullerton said, had a much, much more difficult time. And although we were on your side and at your side, and we will continue to do so, and we provided many, many supports under the leadership of Heather and the long-term care coordinators that you will hear more tomorrow, it is you at the end that did the work. It is you at the end that needed to be and needs still to be day in and day out with the difficulties in long-term care. And it is you that today deserves this special celebration, because despite every challenge that you have experienced, you have been successful in completing your 3 years designation, and we know that you will continue forward. So the first one that I would like to introduce is Friedrich Nursing Home. With the successful completion of BPSO pre-designation period, residents, families, and staff continue to benefit from enhancements to the provision of care in Friedrich Nursing Home. The implementation of RNO guidelines has resulted in reduction of restraint use, improved oral hygiene practices and prevention of falls and fall-related injuries. FIDICS has been recognized by the Ontario Association of Resident Councils as they have shared FIDICS alternative to restraint resource widely across the province. Through the spread of their implementation strategies, FIDICS work has reached other long-term care homes and other sectors for across the continuum of care. In fact, I had the privilege with Betty from our board to visit FIDICS nursing home, not this past nursing week, but the 2019 nursing week. And my golly, I was impressed with your work. The leadership in the home, the staff in the home, the commitment in the home, and the care that every single resident receives in your home is second to none. So FIDICS Nursing Home, congratulations for this tremendous milestone, and our team looks forward to continuing to work with you. I next would like to speak about the journey that has allowed Holland Christian Homes, which includes both Faith Manor and Grace Manor, to gain the appreciation of evidence-based practice and the steps needed to achieve sustained practice in there. I do want to say as a comment so that you know that today we are only graduating Faith Manor. We are not graduating today Grace Manor, and the home knows, and the home not only knows, they are committed to continue to work with us to ensure that they remedy the situations that brought the Canadian Armed Forces to support their work. And our work at RNO, what you need to know, is also to continue to support them, to continue to be on their side and at their side to ensure that they overcome any and all of the challenges that they are experiencing. So next year at this AGM, we can celebrate also Grace Manor of the Holland Christians Homes. The importance of the work of them is that they have also been able to spread their outcomes widely. And recently, they had a manuscript published in the Canadian Nurse Journal with a focus on purposeful hourly rounding in long-term care. This publication highlighted the experience of Faith Manor in implementing the falls prevention strategy and its impact on a number of key resident safety indicators, including a significant reduction in the rate of falls and residents experiencing pain. We are tremendously proud of your work, and as I said today, we're celebrating the completion of Faith Manor, and we look forward to helping Grace Manor to overcome their challenges, and yes, to celebrating them next year, hopefully in person. So congratulations, colleagues, for your leadership and for this tremendous milestone of success. Next, we are celebrating Mark Haven Home for Seniors. Mark Haven journey to become a best practice spotlight organization has been, from their perspective, a series of incredible accomplishments. And our team and myself could not but agree with them big time on this. One of the many accomplishments they have identified was the publication of their manuscript reflecting on their experience in implementing strategies to enhance person and family-centered care. The data they have been collecting related to the outcomes of guideline implementation indicates a decrease in falls and improved continence amongst the residents. Now, they have many champions with the skills necessary to implement even more BPGs. as they strive to continue to enable their residents to find meaning and joy in their lives. Congratulations, Mark Haven Home for Seniors. Lastly, my team and I would like to congratulate Nipissing District Memorial Hospital. According to Nipissing District Memorial Hospital, achieving the LTC BPSO designation has been a significant accomplishment for their team. There were numerous challenges to the management team as BPSO work was spread throughout both the LTC and acute care sites of the hospital, which made engaging an acute care site of the hospital challenging at times. However, the focus on BPSO helped them to embed person and family-centered care practices across the entire organization, not only being spotty and not only having disconnect between the acute care site and the long-term care site. They improved their pain management, oral health, and constipation practices big time. Their successful Advanced Clinical Practice Fellowship project incorporated end-of-life practices for indigenous persons and achieved several significant outcomes. The goal they set for themselves was to provide quality, evidence-based care to their patients and residents. And the LTC BPSO helped them to achieve their goal. Their experiences of applying evidence-based practice has been foundational for their future. Congratulations, Nipissing District Memorial Hospital. And with that, I want to thank the LTC coordinators and Heather McConnell and Megan Bamford and the inquiry team for the tremendous support that you give day in and day out to the nursing homes and in fact to all the BPSOs to achieve their success, which their success becomes our success and vice versa. So thank you to all of you. Back to you, Madam President.
At this time, I would like to thank all of you for joining us tonight in this exciting new platform of AGM. And just before we close, I have a couple of housekeeping items for our members. I'd like to remind all our consultation representatives that their mandatory session begins in 15 minutes. Sorry, not 30 anymore. Those that do not attend this session will not receive the secure link to vote during the consultation session tomorrow. To our guests, we thank you for joining us in our opening ceremony of RNU 95th AGM celebrations. You all have been part of our accomplishment over the past year, and we look forward to continue to partner with you. I now declare the opening ceremonies for the RNU 95th Annual General Meeting closed. Thank you, everyone, for attending tonight.
I think we need to do a cheer the workers quickly with an applause at least, with an applause, Ifra. Open the mics. Here we go. Everybody, applaud every member of RNO and every healthcare provider and essential service in the province. Thank you.
Thank you.
And see you tomorrow morning early, except that we are seeing those that are voting for the session now.
Yes, in about 15 minutes. Thank you.
Thanks all.